Okay, welcome everybody to the joint overview and scrutiny panel this evening. We're at the Harborough Innovation Centre this evening. We don't have the normal black microphones. We're using the OWL instead to record and live stream the meeting. So if you could obviously speak up, but the OWL does record everything that's discussed in the meeting, so be aware. Mobile phones, can I just check that they are switched off where possible, please? Fire exits are the fire exits are you can see it in the room, and the meeting point is at the back of the car park. So firstly, on the agenda, apologies for absence. I've received apologies from councillors Bateman, Sarfus, Scott, Woodywis, Finan and Taylor. So unless there are any other apologies, no. Okay. Number two, are there any declarations of members' interest, please, on any item on the agenda tonight? I'm not expecting any, so no, thank you. Number three, the draft minutes of the joint overview and scrutiny panel of the 23rd of April 2026. Hopefully you've all got a copy of them in front of you. I can't propose or second them because I'm not an attendee of the meeting. So
don't think anyone.
Actually, that is, yes, I don't think anyone here was at the meeting. So
technically you don't have to be at the meeting to still vote for them. What you could do is just note them for this case if members feel more comfortable with that.
And I don't think Councillor Bannister was here either. Welcome, Councillor Bannister. So we've started the meeting, Councillor Bannister. So I think we should note them if anyone has any comments on the minutes, but it would be good if there was some method of one or two members who were there at the meeting to attest as to accuracy.
Councillor Anderson has reviewed them and is satisfied and he chaired the meeting.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Well, that point could be noted then, please. Thank you very much. So those are the minutes of the 23rd of April. So on to the main item for this evening, single item, the development of scrutiny work plans for the next year, 2026-2027. So members will have in front of them the report. It's a brief report and it contains the items that have been pre-submitted or generated from committees. Can I ask the committee officer, is this the same document or are there some extra, if there's some extra information in this?
There is a few additional scrutiny topic proposal forms from officers. So I think there's two additional ones to the ones that you have in your original.
Great, thank you for confirming. So does that mean that the table, yes, so the table document appears to carry on longer by a couple of extra pages, then it's that what seems to be. So the first one, two, is it right? The first 3 pages are the same, and there are 2 further pages, of which it seems to be 1 item. Is that right? You mentioned, I think there's one, yes, 1 extra. It's a significant item. So without further ado, just before going to the committee, so as a reminder, the recommendation is to consider and generate scrutiny topics for the work plans of the corporate and performance and services and communities overview and scrutiny panels for the municipal year 26-27. Any initial comments from members, please? Oh yes, please, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chair. So I just wanted to just quickly review the report with you, what we're looking for in terms of items, in terms of types of items, details to items. And also I just want to get your feedback just on a couple of bits and bobs to do with portfolio holder updates and things like that. So as you can see from the board up there, there's 8 missing, but we are looking for 8 items for each panel. So that would be 2 items per panel meeting. There is a third reserve space for urgent and topical items. So if there's something that comes up throughout the year that you want to review, but you don't want to replace any of your existing items, there is that space for the third item if needs be. So a couple of questions to begin with. Would you like to continue receiving portfolio holder updates to each panel meeting? Is that sort of consensus? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Lovely. Okay, fantastic. That's fine. We'll keep them on there then. That's no problem. So what we'll do is we'll try and coincide those portfolio holder updates with relevant items. Sometimes it's not always possible. Also just wanted to check as well, would you like to split the portfolio holders between each panel? So for example, wellbeing and housing go to services and communities, or would you rather they be related to the item that you're receiving? Or would you like each portfolio holder to attend each sort of not every meeting, but sort of each portfolio holder attend one meeting of each panel throughout the year? It's completely up to you what you would prefer.
What have we been doing for the past 12 months?
So we've tried to link it in with the items that each panel are receiving, but we've tried to have it so I think strategy, planning and finance went to corporate and performance, and then the others went to the services and communities. Would you like to keep running it like that?
Would it be beneficial? Would it be beneficial to have the portfolio holder here so that they can go through it and then we can?
Yes, yeah. So what we would normally have is we'd have the portfolio holder for the relevant item attending the meeting to present the item to you and answer any questions. What we've also done previously is had a portfolio holder update where a portfolio holder comes along and gives you an update of what's going on across the council and their portfolio.
Councillor Asher, please.
Yeah, I think it's fairly useful, but I think what was even more useful is to have the relevant officer. And there's been times at certain scrutiny meetings where we've not had the relevant officer, and being on the other side of it is very difficult. Being the portfolio holder, when the officer's got the answers to the questions that you've not been given. So I think having the relevant officer is probably more important than anything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Was that mention, please?
Not the owl, is it?
So just to clarify, it's a good point. So whilst the relevant officer may not be at the meeting in relation to a report being presented, what you're saying is they may be there to support the portfolio holder who's presenting their report, because the only concern there is that if, for example, there aren't any questions or queries, there's nothing for the officer to add. That's only a concern. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, I guess both really is quite important, but certainly for the items that are on the agenda. But obviously, if the portfolio holder gives an update and then people have got questions for them and then they can't answer those questions, then an officer would obviously need to come in. But it's quite difficult if the officers aren't available. But certainly for the report, we definitely should have the senior officer involved.
I suppose it might be testing of the knowledge of the portfolio holder as to how much they could answer and how much they can't and need the detail from the officer. Please, Leah.
If I may, I have seen this work before whereby in advance of the meeting, the scrutiny members are reminded that the portfolio holders come into that meeting and asked to give an indication about what aspects of the portfolio they might be most interested in hearing more about. And then we can try to ensure the relevant officers are there for that area, because although it's for the portfolio holders to present, I do get the point sometimes detailed questions. And if we did that preemptive work, it might really help with that process.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good point, because we're just cautious to have too many officers there who in the end aren't used. But it is a very valid point, and I think that would resolve it. Councillor James, you had.
I was just going to say, I think it's important for the portfolio holder to be there. If the portfolio holder feels they need officer support, technical support in some way, the officer come along. I think I'd leave it to the portfolio holder.
Yes, and if there's a particularly significant item, the portfolio hold, for example, if the local plan is imminent, then it would be up to the portfolio holder to request officer
agree.
attendance.
I think to do it properly and to give it some justice, it needs to be.
So we're going to have a bit of flexibility in that. Maybe, but a very good point. Yes. Welcome, Councillor Bremner. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Chair. Because of my condition, I might occasionally get up and walk about.
That's completely acceptable. The owl might follow you.
Sorry?
The owl might follow you. We've not got the black microphones this evening. We have this.
Might dance then.
Help yourself. That's no problem. There's plenty of room.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So in terms of the report, all members were asked, were suggested to complete a scrutiny topic proposal form, and the results of this are included in Appendix A. So use of the scrutiny topic proposal form will inform officers of scrutiny's intended plans for the topic, and informs what information is provided to the panels in order to aid their investigations. So we're trying to really formulate the proposals and items through this scrutiny topic proposal form. They are also on your desk if you want to have a look at them or use them throughout this evening. Officers have also proposed topics and also completed the scrutiny topic proposal form where possible, and these are included in the updated Appendix A, which should be on your desks, and were circulated earlier today. There is just a little quick amendment to Appendix A, so it does say community governance review, but it should actually say local government reorganisation, and this is included with the intention to being considering items around LGR that might warrant scrutinising.
Just to confirm, that's near the bottom of page 2. Is that right?
Yes.
It's the last line above the box, above the box at the bottom of page 2. So instead of community governance review, LGR. Great, thank you.
Lovely, thank you. So the scrutiny topic proposal form will be open throughout the year. So if there is a specific topic that you do want to be looking at and that's not already on the work plan, if you complete this form, the result will then be brought to the next meeting of the relevant panel to consider. So that's open to all councillors. Scrutiny, you'll also be provided with the executive forward plan as usual as part of the work planning item that you receive sort of each meeting. So you can also use that to inform any items that you want to see throughout the year. So councillors this evening are either invited to either select items included in Appendix A of the report for inclusion in the work plans, or use scrutiny topic proposal forms provided to formulate verbal suggestions to the panel. They don't have to be in great depth, just a general idea of sort of what you want to be seeing, just so we can provide, us as officers can provide you with as much information as you can, make sure you're getting the correct information and make sure you're getting the outcomes that you want to receive. So Leah and I will be noting down the information received. So we'll share that with the relevant officers so they can start preparing the reports. Just following the meeting, the work plans will be developed and agreed. We'll then send to the scrutiny chairs, and at both panels meetings in July, the work plan will be presented for agreement alongside one, possibly two topics selected at this meeting. The work plan and scrutiny topic proposals will also be sent to the relevant officer following this meeting to inform the report they bring to scrutiny, as I previously said. Just in terms of the future of scrutiny, recommendations from each item at normal panels will continue to be considered by Cabinet on a regular basis. So we're looking at 4 times for each panel this year, plus 1 for the joint scrutiny panel in January, and responses will be reported back to the relevant panel as it has been previously. Just some items that you may want to consider. You may want to consider if you want the corporate and performance panel to keep receiving the finance and performance reports for Q1 to Q4. And also the 21st of January joint overview and scrutiny is reserved for draft budget scrutiny. If you want any further meetings of either panel or joint meeting to consider perhaps larger items that might cut across both panels. Just my thoughts and introductions. So back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's a fantastic introduction and encouragement for our task this evening. So Can I just double check with you, the date at the end of this new Appendix A at the back, it should say January, not February?
Yes, apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. So as a reminder, everyone probably already knows there's always a joint budget scrutiny and it's currently scheduled for the 21st of January 2027. Can I just ask you, before bringing Councillor Moder, are we still expected, because I think we are, to bring in the 4-quarter budgets at each quarterly meeting of scrutiny performance? And are we,
So
because that's been normal for the last few years,
Yes.
hasn't it?
yeah, it has been normal, absolutely, and it's a decision. It's a report, sorry, that don't go to cabinet. So you're more than welcome to include that for the corporate and performance panel.
So-
if you'd like to continue to receive that.
Okay, well, I'll put that on the table. We could have 1 or 2 chats about that if we need to. I'm certainly not going to just drive it into the schedule. Councillor Moder, then Councillor James,
Yeah.
please.
Thanks, Ella. Just a quick one. The Appendix A, it was emailed to us today.
Yes.
It would have been, I think, helpful to have received it a little bit earlier than today.
So it is in the original agenda pack. That's just an updated version with one additional. The item is still in the original agenda pack. It's just with the scrutiny topic proposal on there. So it gives you a bit more detail about what officers would be
Okay.
sort of suggesting.
Maybe because we've got 2, if that bit that was actually updated was in italics or
Yeah, of
something,
course.
just so that
Yeah.
I'm not reading that and then I'm going through this to see what's the changes. And the second thing is the responses to the scrutiny topic proposal form. Is there a due date for this? Do you want this back by a certain time?
So ideally, if we could have the topics agreed today, that's just to sort of inform your verbal formulation of ideas.
Okay.
Again, doesn't have to be in massive detail. But ideally we'd have all 16 items today so we can go tomorrow
Right.
and agree the work plan for next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor James.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to test other areas because I've been an observer for the last 12 months on scrutiny. Before that, I was involved with some regional scrutiny training and with other district councils. And although I feel that the performance scrutiny has operated very well, I've not felt comfortable with the community one because we're not reaching out into the community in some areas. I'm aware that other councils do reach out to other organisations to see how they're performing, to maybe help them, work with them. And we've got partner organisations and we haven't done any of that. We did have platform housing on one of our key partners, and that never happened. And there are issues there, I think, that we could share with them and see whether performance can be improved. And there are a couple of other areas very much deeply concerned with the community at the moment. One is East Midlands Railway, which is falling apart. And the other one is the Market Harbour Medical Centre, where there is a 10-week waiting list to see a GP at the moment. And I think those areas are very important in the community. I'm aware that a lot of people are having to go to Rugby or Northampton now to get to London and things like that. And as part of a rail users group, we're not getting the answers that we need. So I would be seeking actually to broaden out a bit on the community and have a look at, to better understand and maybe help with some of the outside organisations like that to understand their problems and how they're dealing with them and what their timescales might be with dealing with them.
Okay, so thank you, Councillor James. That's a good series of points. So just to clarify, you've raised platform housing.
Yes, which was there last year.
Yeah. Secondly, East Midlands Railway. And thirdly, you meant the GP surgery.
The Market Harbour Medical Centre.
Market Harbour
Yeah.
Medical Centre. So firstly, on the housing one, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, but didn't we invite into the council offices some registered social landlords? I don't know if it was a single one or more than one, but I think that was highly successful. I don't know whether the social landlord would say as such, but I know from councillors' point of view, it was very popular. And I think there was even some comments that we should do this again quite soon. Councillor Asher, did you want to add to that?
I believe platform were brought in the last scrutiny, or they were invited
Anyone got any more information?
They were invited but didn't attend.
Oh, is that?
Yes, yes, so
It was discussed, wasn't it, at the last?
it was, yes,
Yeah.
and a recommendation from that meeting was to invite platform housing and potentially other registered providers again,
Yeah,
just perhaps with a little bit more notice, I guess,
yeah,
to another meeting and to have that as an item for
Yeah.
services
Yeah,
and communities
okay.
this year. So
I'll mention something in a second. Councillor Knight, did you want to?
Yeah, really, I was just going to say that, yeah, my recollection is that we have tried to get platform housing along to previous scrutinies and that it have failed to materialise.
Now, isn't there something in the documents that someone suggested almost having a separate committee? Was it on one of these? Registered providers present at scrutiny meeting. I can't remember the exact sentence, but I mean, that may be an idea for councillors' comments this evening as to whether it's such a substantial item. You want to treat that in a little bit of a different manner so it doesn't clog up a whole meeting or two. That would be an idea. I mean, certainly in my own ward, I've had one or two frustrating housing issues that have been technically simple to resolve, but have taken an inordinately long time. And it would be good to understand more of the detail from the social landlords. Councillor Bannister first, then Councillor James.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It does appear that that topic is first on Appendix A, to review customer service efficiency of registered providers of affordable housing in the district. I recall being at the previous scrutiny meeting when I think we had 3 registered providers of affordable homes come. There was good interaction during the meeting. There were a couple of promises about contact details made at the meeting, but they weren't really followed up, which is disappointing. But in terms of what we could put on the programme, I would certainly endorse that we place this one on as outlined in the Appendix A.
Yes, certainly. Councillor James, your comments on this matter as well?
Yeah, it was just a comment basically that to understand how they're operating, the housing associations and organisations, they've got key performance indicators, and I'd almost like to start there. You know, are you dealing with your emergency housing in 24 hours, your routine in a month or whatever it is, to see how they're performing? I mean, we do get, I don't think we want to be discussing the individual light bulb that's not gone in, and you know,
No.
for 6 weeks, but get an overall picture of how they're operating and how they're performing against their own indicators would be very useful.
So I think at the very least, there seems to be a committee interest in definitely having one of our meetings inviting several social landlords too.
Yeah.
If members felt that wouldn't work, we could examine something more significant, but I think we ought to start with considering a one meeting repeat. I don't recall that meeting, if it was the one I went to, I don't recall that meeting generating a wish to expand it into a whole committee, but councillors could make that request. We could start with that, please.
sorry, yeah, that's absolutely fine. We can definitely take that topic. The one thing is, would you like to have an additional meeting for to discuss registered providers, or would you rather take if you want it to just be a one item meeting, have 7 items for the year for services and communities? It's up to you.
That's best.
Let's see how we get on this evening.
That's fine.
But if there's room for another meeting, so be it. But if there isn't, then we
Yeah.
can utilise one of the votes.
See if we end up with, we have difficulties allocating the 31 items that we've come up with this evening. Okay, that's a good start. So, Councillor James, that's the platform housing registered social landlords issue you raised. Does anyone want to join in on the Market Harborough health issue or the East Midlands Railway? Please.
Just make a point on the health issue. Health matters are normally scrutinised by the Council Health Scrutiny Panel, which is members of the county and Rutland and Leicester City as upper tier authorities. The difference is they can actually compel the health providers to come along. They have that power. Just looking at the work programme, this month they are due to be looking at access to GP services.
Oh, that'd be good.
I do see, you know, for example, in Market Harbour specifically, councillor Dr Sarah Hill is actually the vice chair of that committee, so it might be worth, if you've got particular concerns, feeding those through to her to put forward to the meeting.
I've had so many concerns from residents in Market Harbour, and you know, dozens. And actually, I have written to the Integrated Care Board with a number of concerns, general issues, and I'd be interested to get a reply to that. I have been promised a reply, and maybe I could share it here at some stage.
I think, Councillor James, at this point, because it's always been interesting, the involvement of the District Council in Health, and it's a very good point. Could we, offline after the meeting, just clarify whether we ought to be going into this? Because if there is obviously a population concern, I think we should clarify if we need to be taking up certain elements of it or none of it. So that I'm not denigrating any of the concerns you've received, but if this council and this committee is not really the correct place, we'll leave it to the officers to formally advise.
What I would be happy to do is let you, Chair, have a copy of the letter I've sent in. It's quite a substantial.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
And we'll take a view from there.
Yeah, definitely, and combine that with the officers. Councillor Asher.
As Leah's just said, Sarah Hill is vice chair of that committee, so it would be a good idea perhaps for you, councillor James, to send her the letter. And because she could actually do something.
Yeah, it's never very nice for us as councillors to say to residents, well, no, I don't do that. But maybe this is one example where we do, but
way of getting action.
yes, we can support other councils and councillors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sending that on to Sarah Hill.
Okay, so that's that item. Thank you very much. Any other comments before we move forward on railway issues? So the possibility there, linking in with what other members have said, is I don't think we've ever had someone representing the East Midlands Railway come into us. Is there enough of an agenda item that we could extend that invite?
Very quickly, I can explain the situation. There are new trains which are 4 years late, the electric hybrids. They've got all sorts of technical problems, and they're not able to roll all those out. Meanwhile, the older what called Meetign trains are wearing out. The government allegedly has directed some of them somewhere else. It's all gone wrong because they've got problems with the older trains wearing out. So they've reduced from 10 car units to 5 car units, which is causing all sorts of issues.
So there's two issues here. One is that it's clearly of interest to the public, but secondly, it may be a real struggle to identify it as a council responsibility. Councillor Bremner.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think something like that, you're much better going to the MP and lobbying them to have more clout in this. I don't think a commercial company is going to have any interest or an invitation from the district council. They've got bigger things to worry about at the moment to get things fixed. I know what Councillor James has said, because they moved the Meridian, or that plan was to move Meridians up north, I think to Scotland.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And there were delays in the new trains coming in, so that's probably caused a lack of trains. But that's just a business cycle,
Yeah.
a business mistake. I don't think we're going to get much traction on that.
I'm very sympathetic, but by definition, almost everything is of interest to the public, but I'm not convinced we can do it. I could come back to you in a second. Councillor Bannister, did you want to
Yeah,
come in?
thank you, Chair. Again, every sympathy, of course, but I do wonder about the jurisdiction of the district council over transportation issues. That, if any, lies again with council. They do, I understand, have an overview of highways and transportation panel that has more teeth to it than whatever we could do at the district level. Yes, the idea of lobbying MPs is a good one, but this again may be something more for the county than for us.
Not quite sure that meets the criteria, then I'm afraid. Councillor James was very sympathetic,
Well, we
obviously.
can
but-
try the MP route.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so three fantastic starter suggestions there, councillor James. Any further comments? We've got someone submitted about the tourism strategy in leisure centres. Any comments or feedback on those two suggestions? Haven't we as a council looked annually in scrutiny at leisure services? Isn't there something that comes to scrutiny, this scrutiny communities panel? I thought there was a requirement. Maybe there isn't a requirement. I think something is previously it's sort of popped up every year or so. It's a huge part of what we provide to the public in leisure. You can link it into tourism, but I think for it to remain as an item, I think we'd need to be more specific in scoping out what we wanted officers to look at and what we wanted to be presented to us. Councillor James?
Yeah, I think there are some issues, there's emerging issues with leisure. I mean, for example, in the town here, there's lots of competition now with gyms compared to what we have in our leisure centre, and the market's changing a bit. And I just wonder how our leisure centre is coping with that. I'm not quite familiar with. Do we have a Councillor Asher may know? Do we have a profit sharing arrangement with the leisure centre, or do we get performance information from them?
So yeah, every
Through
month,
the chat.
when I was a portfolio holder, there was monthly meetings at the leisure centre, and Steve Taylor used to attend these meetings, and you'd get a performance of how they were actually doing. There's no profit share.
No.
They are a company in their own right, and we employ them to obviously run the leisure centres. So every month they'd show us, you know, the strategy, and obviously we had that period where they were going to put soft play into the halls, and the public went crazy, and we had to stop them doing that. And that, you know, that was, they were sort of saying, well, if we don't do that, we could struggle financially. But the feedback from the meetings following that have been that they're doing okay. And the fact of the matter is another soft play opened up, so they probably would have struggled with the soft play anyway. So I think, you know, the right thing was done, and they are still getting members through the door. They are still very busy in the summer holidays. So I think they are turning over a good profit. They've never indicated that they're struggling.
That was an interesting example. And just before coming to Councillor Bremner, wasn't one of the main complaints there from other groups who had been pushed out of the schedule? What I don't think it was people complaining that a new service was provided, wasn't it? Certain people had their sessions term at camp.
So the sports hall had been done up with when the improvements were made, and it had been made ideal for badminton.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like okay for badminton, wasn't it? So the badminton club were the first to be really cross about it, and then there were other groups coming forward saying they didn't want to use the big hall because of the location of the toilets, and there was all sorts of things, reasons why they would prefer the sports hall. And in fact, when it was first done out, they were saying, oh, this is great because we've got all these courts now and we've still got the sports hall. And at no point did anyone ever say that they were going to have soft play in the sports hall. So it was like, you know, and okay, in the day they struggled to fill the sports hall, but you know, in the evenings it's packed, you can't get a court. So they are doing really well.
Councillor Bremner?
Yeah, I think there's a difference in offer between Harbour Leisure Centre and other gyms. And that there's more diversity in the Harbour Leisure Centre. There's a gym, and there's also a straight weight area where you can just use freestanding weights. But you've got a pool, you've got the gym, you've got the outdoor, well, I call it outdoors. It's where the tennis used to take place. Yeah, the dome. So I think the real issue in that area is car parking with the football club, and I don't think that's for scrutiny, but I'm just saying that is the real issue up there at the moment, because Harbour Town Football Club were promoted, the medical centre put on the £100 fine if you park there and you're not coming to visit the medical centre, so that car park is now empty. And it's an issue which, people are gonna have to look pretty quickly because the entrance to that area is not good. It's quite narrow.
I mean, I'm certainly
I
picking
don't
up.
think it's not for scrutiny, but I'm just mentioning.
Well, it might be. It could be. I mean, I'm certainly picking up that we need to ensure our offer of the sports centre with you know, liaising with the service provider, because I don't think we have a particular right of veto. I'm not sure the contract, I don't know what's in the contract. But certainly if we could scope out enough that it was worthy to come back to another scrutiny panel, probably scrutiny communities, I would support that, because we do need to make sure it's a really good offer. Councillor Mahal first, and Councillor James.
Just wanted to bring up the dome. I think they had issues with the dome. I don't know, did that ever
They've always
get
had
resolved?
issues.
Sorry?
Yes,
Always had issues with it.
Did it go? Did it?
no, the dome
Oh.
is now the arena, so it's been purpose built, so they've no longer got to keep it,
It's a structural-
It's been rebuilt.
That costs a lot of money. And then the arena, the people that used to play tennis in the old dome, the arena isn't good surface for tennis, it was slippy and all that. There's some people that use the dome that say it's better, but there's a few groups that use the dome that are saying it's not as good, and the flooring wasn't great. So there are, you know, a few teething problems with the leisure centre. I mean, I don't know who's put this forward, but it could be something to scrutinise, but I don't know whether there's enough. Look, I don't know whether you did it with something else, like,
Okay.
you know, leisure in the district. I don't know.
So, yeah, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, because obviously we've obviously got our leisure centre and then Ludworth Leisure Centre and then Broughton Astley Leisure Centre. I guess we could
Yeah.
look at all leisure centres and make sure we're providing enough for everybody in the district.
I mean, there was something down here about the built sports facility strategy, but then again, that's the future. That's not our current offer. That's where we come.
And there's
Two-
a new leisure centre, isn't there, is it Fletton?
Yes, it's slightly smaller than the Broughton one, but yes, there's something. Councillor James first, then Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I was just saying that, I mean, there are pressures in Harborough about swimming. There's a lot of, we knew that, I think, from what some of the consultants were saying to us, but I don't know where we are with that, but there's a lot of issues about people booking to try and get swimming lessons. And then another one is that, you know, when you have the membership, it's the same company, but you seem to have a Harbour leisure membership, but you can't use Lutterworth and vice versa. I think that's something that one's looking at.
It could be added to the scope, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, not forgetting the Lutterworth Sports Centre, how that's performing. It may well be that's got different issues. I think, for example, swimming, I think is perhaps an easier to book them in Lutterworth than it is at Harborough. But I mean, I'm not convinced that the two centres are operating as a whole. They seem to be operating
Yes,
quite,
they're the same.
maybe wrong, but they seem to be operating in some areas quite independently.
Any of that, everyone else.
Yeah.
You
If
can.
you've just got the swimming membership, you can only use the one centre. that you-
Yeah, there's an issue over.
Right, okay, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, sorry.
Just to feedback, it was a few years ago, and I think only somewhere between 2 and 4, that the recent built sports facility strategy wasn't one of the main conclusions that the Market Harborough Hall should be upped from 6 lengths to 8. Wasn't that one of the key? I'm looking around either side of me. I remember that as being one of the main. I mean, maybe it's 5, 6 years ago. Maybe it's more years ago than I was thinking. But I think. I mean, I don't know about because I live 18 to 20 miles in the other direction and don't use that one. I don't know. I mean, I do know that many people have a 7 a.m. alarm in the morning and it goes off and they're instantly on the app of their local gym trying to book a place in the latest class. So I don't know whether that's what you're referring to. Please, Leah, do you want to?
I was just thinking, I'm conscious, we're almost trying to do the scrutiny
Yeah.
in its own right. It feels to me that there's potentially a bit of a twin review here. There's, like you say, leisure centres as they are, Market Harbour and Lutterworth. What are we providing? Are they financially robust? Are they delivering to the community needs? Is that unmet need that's not being delivered? Because that latter bit could then feed into a review of the emerging built sports facilities strategy.
Yes,
Later date.
I think that's an excellent summary.
Okay, sorry. rising population that we're gonna have.
Yeah, the
to
effect of the local,
2041.
effect of the local plan. So,
Yeah.
well, I think that's a really good summary. I don't know if that was written down, but I think there's a good scope there. And as I say, it's one of the main services that there's hundreds of thousands of visits, maybe more from the general public. So, yeah, I think that's a good item to add.
Mm.
Okay, that's captured. Lovely. So that's leisure centres. I've mentioned tourism strategy. I don't know whether anyone wanted to make any comments on that one. No, there's the delivery, provision and management of affordable housing review has been submitted.
I think that's essentially what came out of, it's the same as the scrutiny topic proposal. That's just what's come out of the Services and Communities panel as a recommendation.
Right, oh, the recommendation from the Services and Communities over panel, delivery, provision and management of affordable housing. Do you mean a review of the delivery, provision and management of affordable housing? Is it?
I believe so, yes. I think so at the end of, I think in May, the Services and Communities panel received a report on current registered providers in the district.
Oh, this was
how many complaints
sentence
we're receiving, how many antisocial behaviour instances
Okay.
there are and things like that.
Great. So
And
we've
then I
done
think, yeah, the back end of that is
lovely.
inviting people, inviting
Fantastic. Three hands. Councillor Moder, then James and Brendan.
Thanks, Chair. Does that include rural affordable provision in villages and the impact of new development on the provisions, like schools and GPs, etc.?
Now that sounds very local planny to me.
Sorry.
It is, I mean, there's several comments there that could come from the local plan. Are you saying that you want?
I'm just asking whether that's going to be included as a sub
I
to
don't
that title.
think so. That was more the registered social landlords inviting and principally on customer service issues. So I would suggest maybe not.
Yeah, all right.
Unless anyone wants to add. Second speaker, Councillor James, I think you've just picked the post.
Cool. Yeah, the one for the corporate performance, I think we'd all be pleased to deal with, and that is this, is it, I'll get the name wrong, Harbour District Services.
Our district
trading
commercial
on.
services.
Yeah, that's lingering around all of us for a long time. I think it would be good to get an update on that.
That would be, so let's focus on it now. We'll need to take some advice from Leah.
You're aware of that,
Is that a cabinet one?
It's going to cabinet
Yeah.
on 15th
Oh.
of June.
So we'll get it then.
Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe, I mean, I think that's a cabinet one. I'm not
When's it going to
sure.
cabinet, Chair?
I mean, maybe after that, if you want to make another special case. But
No,
raise
I
the
wasn't
but
aware
I
it's
don't,
going
yeah,
to cabinet.
no,
Yeah,
so maybe
yeah.
not this evening then. Okay,
Yeah,
no, good
no,
point.
let's see what the
Councillor
cabinet
Brendan.
Section 151 might be able to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
I think the proposal in the cabinet paper is to wind up.
Oh,
It's an exempt paper.
Oh, is that?
I think the recording went a bit funny then.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you said.
It's to give all options.
Yeah, so the there's some further suggestions to move down the list. Sorry, I'm just looking, remaining items from 25-26 work plans. Does this mean that we didn't get to these items?
Yes, yeah, so some of them were removed, then replaced by other items. Some were just not able to be taken
Right.
at that time, so it's.
Did you want to say
it's up
something?
you if we have them.
There is one specific thing there, the community safety partnership and the crime and disorder functions does need to go to the very first meeting of the Services and Communities because it's a
Statutory one, so we have to take a statutory one in it. And can you just show me where that is? I couldn't.
It's these two bullets.
Oh, those two. Right, okay, so they're dealt with, lovely. So the ones that are remaining on page 2 appear to be CCTV update. Now, that looks a bit sparse. What, does anyone have any further information? Be curious to know who put that on the agenda. I'm thinking of one person. Councillor Asher.
I know the budget was put on that, or was proposed to be put on the budget. I don't know why it's on there, why,
Yeah.
I don't know. Perhaps it's,
There was due to be a review of our CCTV provision and how we operate CCTV across the district last year. That review was delayed. I think, was it March or was it May?
I
When
remember being in a
Yeah,
debate
it
at
was
Scrutiny.
Yeah.
Was it Scrutiny Performance that it came
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
there was a presentation on what we currently have.
That was it. It
To
was
update.
CCTV presentation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't really scoped out for a discussion. It was interesting, and I think it did lead to some questions, because this is a bit blanket. I don't know whether so it didn't come from a member. This has come from the panel. That the CCTV review be included in the panel's work. Right. So that committee for corporate and performance overview did request that it come back. So the committee's already done some work listening to the presentation. It wanted to do more. So I think that's a reasonably good reason. You would ideally like a bit more scope though, to the council night.
Sorry, so within that, because is there not a crossover with the safety partnership?
I'm sure there would.
There is a
Well,
because don't they, if I recall from my time on that panel, they actually do have some funding from the Police and Crime Commissioner for some CCTV.
Could you lump it all to?
could we try to merge
Would
a
that,
CCTV update with
is
the,
there an overlap?
or is that so statutory? It's very tightly
Yeah.
I
defined.
think because it's just,
Think it's too
it's
tight.
just talking about decisions or actions taken by the CSP in the last year. But if you want to, I don't know, I think it's two separate services really, in the council, but we've also got the community safety action plan later on. So maybe if you want to take them as separate items at the same meeting, that might be a good way to go if possible.
So there could be a meeting with the legally required decisions or actions taken by the community safety partnership at a similar meeting, if it's ready, community safety action plan.
I'm not sure it'll be ready because we are talking
Right.
about the June meeting for the Community Safety Partnership.
Oh, is July.
so could the
Yes, yeah.
CCTV review be added to that same agenda?
That would be,
We'd have to check on timing.
yeah, possibly,
Yeah,
possibly,
Will, but
preferably if possible. And then that's a good community safety meeting then. Okay, good. That includes CCTV update, I think, as well, in that. So 2 other items in the middle of that page, declaring a nature emergency was on the work plan, and the delivery of the UK SPF and Rural Prosperity Fund. I think that was an interest in reviewing the progress of the delivery, probably more to do with looking at spending, etc. Councillor Knight?
So, you're talking about the UK Prosperity Fund.
Was it
And
shared?
there's a shared prosperity, and it would that work if you link that with the Rural Prosperity Fund? Would those two?
That's what's on the agenda here.
That's
yes.
what's on the.
Yeah, that's linked already here.
It is linked.
Leah?
it wasn't brought forward last year because the UK SPF was extended into this year. So I think the intention is to look at, okay, what has UK SPF achieved in the district? What outcomes have we got from that?
Yeah, and I do remember there was an interest in looking at the split in a geographical sense, just to make sure that many communities had benefited, but also a split in type of funding, which sections of our community, wherever they are, have benefited. So is it tourism? Is it sport and leisure? Is it voluntary activities? So I think there was an interest in seeing breakdowns of where the money has been spent, what the benefit is, and then individual members have the opportunity of asking questions or bringing in their own experience of some of the spending or benefits. So yes, if you're interested enough in that, that would be good. I think that's enough scope. It leaves it somewhat open, but yes, more of a deeper dive into that, but not down to too low a level, not down into the odd £1,000 or £2,000, but certainly it's millions of pounds, isn't it? in total.
It is. I'm just wondering whether it is service to communities or is it corporate and performance?
It's up to you guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Do you have a view?
It'd be nice to have something interesting.
I was gonna say,
Sorry, Clive.
I noted it in my own notes to be under corporate and performance.
Eight terms are very interesting.
There are definite synergies with corporate and performance because the budgets and the over and unders and the money is regularly discussed there. But I have to say, there's synergies with the other panel. I mean, there's nothing to stop panel members of one scrutiny panel going to the other one and sitting at the table as long as the chair is minded to accept the comments. I don't know if they can vote, but no restrictions, I don't think, on members being involved. It may be an extra, you can apply for a transfer. I don't know if the transfer window is still open. But I mean, yes, I appreciate it may be one extra meeting, but one in a year, I mean, it's not an awful lot. And if there's something, a burning issue. I'm not going to say one way or another. I mean, do you think it's enough for corporate and performance? Is the workload a little light on the? I keep trying to turn around and say, is it a little light on corporate performance? Would it benefit
We're
it?
one behind it.
Okay, so we'll put it on corporate performance for now, with a potential lead transfer later on. Lovely, that's a good one. Any comments on declaring a nature emergency? I mean, unless
Well,
I haven't done that.
Councillor Brendan, sorry, you had a quick comment there, and then bring in Councillor Knight.
Just wanted to recap. Appendix A, I had Harbour District Council's tourism strategy, and we just dropped that off.
I didn't have any pickup of that at the time, and then we moved on. But if you wanted to mention that, I think you need to provide a bit of scope for the officers.
I've always said, you're an hour away from London. You have large concert venues in the district. You've got a large maze. You've got a lot to work with. It's in connections with the jet guy that invented it.
Whittle, Frank Whittle.
Thank you.
Frank Whittle,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
the jet.
So there's quite a number of things in the district that can attract people. But do they know about it?
I'm off to see Christian Scott Thomas on Saturday in the district.
I just think by extension, you're probably 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours from Paris. So it's a well-connected district if you broaden it out, if you've got a good train service. And
Well, we did get Spider-Man here recently.
You need to get that right first.
Councillor Knight, can I?
yeah, I mean, obviously the tourism thing, I think it definitely feel that would be good for us to look at, are we promoting enough areas? And it's something that has come up recently at town council, which I sit on, so we have had these discussions about, whether we're to look at this as on scrutiny, I think would be very beneficial.
Well, I'll certainly be bringing a tourist walking route round Broughton Astley's key highlights to that meeting. But certainly, if the committee wants to put it there, it's a good suggestion. Again, I'm not averse from putting slightly too many of these there, because if one of them is developing into a particularly good report with some really good points from officers, they want to bring issues to the committee to get councillors' opinions, whereas another one, for whatever reason, we're really struggling on, that may present some options to the council as a whole, councillors and officers. Councillor Knight?
Yeah, so on, I think, talking about climate change, the annual climate action and net zero front, I'd sort of got that down as a possibility for corporate performance. Really the emissions inventory, progress towards 2030 net zero target, and the delivery risk within that. So I was thinking that could be a
Yes, that's the left-hand column.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely that's a significant item with a lot of scope already in existence in council documents. Councillor Bannister?
I just wanted to clarify the date in the Appendix A regarding the annual report on climate action
it talks about the climate emergency being declared by this council in 2014. I don't recall it being declared that long ago. I thought it was fairly recent, more like 2019.
I was talking to someone about this the other day in a different context. I was elected in 07 and I remember that something was enacted by previous leader, Councillor Swaptridge, but it might even be before 2014. Good point. I think we ought to go and check, but I do recall.
19, I'm sure.
I think I'm one of the only people in the room to have known. Is anyone else here at the same time as Councillor Swaptridge, Councillor Bremen? But I think I mean, I may be totally wrong. I know there was something related. Maybe it was a precursor and then it was finalised in 2014. But
I think you're right. It was more recent.
Leah, did you have anything to add?
Just go to the climate emergency plan. It does say it was July 2019 for the climate emergency,
Yeah.
but from 2013, the council was committed to the LGA's climate local. So there was obviously a recognition before that the emergency was 2019.
There was a substantial report in 19, I remember it.
Yeah. So 2019 was when the current guys kicked off, but there was a little stimulus at 2013. Okay. But that's coming. That's agreed, I think. Okay. Are we on to the new part now, the last 2 pages of Appendix A, or did anyone have any residual comments on the first 3 pages? I don't think we've missed any. Do you want to comment?
I wasn't sure if people wanted to discuss a little bit further the declaring a nature emergency. It's just it came off the back of a council meeting that we had last year, I want to say now, and the recommendation that was decided on was for the declaration to go to scrutiny to consider before it then came back to council. So it's up to you.
Now, was this the topic of a main council meeting? Was there a motion
Yeah.
and did it fail?
Yeah, well, no, it didn't fail. It was withdrawn. I think the then leadership felt the mood in the room.
Oh,
and
yes.
decided not to press it for a vote
Yes.
and suggested that it go to scrutiny. That was the previous administration that have asked for that. I would suggest that we ask the current administration if they want to follow that through. So maybe cabinet can consider whether or not they really do feel that this is necessary for this current administration to pursue before we get into the weeds of scrutinising something that may not be
Good
followed
point.
up by the current administration.
Yes, very good point. I do come to say I do recall now this report, and I think I stood up in council, made a comment that it was rather thin. And I personally wanted to see more of a case made and declaring an emergency. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 pages, but the main text was about 1 page, and I said I was uncomfortable. So I can visualise the report now. Councillor James?
I just want to say that there's a lot of community activity going on this theme, certainly in Market Harbour. I'm not so sure about Lutterworth, but it would be good to bring some of the community groups in. There's a Harbour Climate Action, and there's 3 or 4 groups operating in this area, and it would be good to listen to them and see what they're doing and see whether we can link with them in any way.
Councillor Bremner?
Calculating a few things here. This is climate action, this is nature emergency.
I was about to say that
Yeah.
there's a common thread, but they are
Yes,
different
they're
phrases.
linked, but they're kind of separate at the same time.
Good suggestion from Councillor Bannister about punting it to cabinet with a question. Are you going to do something? There are some synergies with the what was the one we've already passed, the annual report on climate action. I'm not averse making a request for a consideration of nature emergency. So whichever report went to full council, that ought to be considered and see if it's got legs to continue in that. Councillor Bremner?
Just off the top of my head, and while we're here, is there any legs at the time in junction with before LGR, just to see where this organisation HIC and the Growing Centre are in terms of attracting businesses, making a profit. What expansion plans do they have to grow, and do they have footprint to grow? All these kind of questions.
Good question. I recall from my time as portfolio holder, there is quite a lot of information on percentages of how full they are, what the trend has been, what the trend is. As to future provision, I don't know if that means expansion is what you're referring to. That's less on the data reports. So I don't know if Clive Mason wanted to make any comment on this, but there's certainly a lot of data on how they're getting on and what the near future is. With LGR, I suspect there's not a lot going to be looked at in terms of expansion at the moment, unless some juicy grant lands from somewhere.
So,
Do you want to come in?
yeah, so, remember rightly, HIC was at about 98% occupancy, and the HEC is at 100%. So there's little expansion.
Right.
We've done. The area that is trying to be developed out is the cafe downstairs. So that's going through a bit of a pilot at the minute. Not that one,
It's no, but that's the competition.
but it's not really
Yeah.
impacting from what I can tell and understand. So, yeah, I mean, you're at capacity. So you get
Yeah.
the maximum.
Well, I don't think there's much leg in that.
No.
Thank you.
I agree. I think quite a lot of what you said is looked at regularly in other guises. Good point though.
There are statistics that come through in the performance and finance reports as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So that if they were changing, that could be written.
So unless there was that a question, so I think if that was the last item before we get to the extra item added to Appendix A, that's a lot of information on one item, which is a proposed young people's strategy, which I appreciate members won't have had a lot of time to review because it was tabled this evening. Does anyone, any officer want to introduce this? Is this an officer suggested?
It is, yes, yeah. So I think it's a strategy coming forward as part of the from the community engagement team. So I think it's understanding what young people want in the district, what they already have access to. I think it's also potentially a bit about like work and getting ready for.
Apprenticeships.
Yes.
So I'll, just for the benefit of everybody, I'll read through the topic summary. It might stimulate a debate. Topic summary: seeks scrutiny input into the revision of the council's young people strategy to ensure it is up to date, evidence led and responsive to the current and emerging needs of young people across Harbour District. The revised strategy aims to provide a clear framework for partnership working, identify priority outcomes for young people and ensure alignment with wider council objectives and community priorities. So certainly that would be plenty of scope. Councillor Knight, then Councillor James.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely welcome a scrutiny panel looking at that. I think it's very worthwhile. I think it's extremely important that we look at, you know, how youth are catered for within the district and how we're engaging with them. I think it's absolutely worthy of a look at.
Yeah, Councillor James, then Councillor.
Yeah, I am aware that I think this is going to be a theme of the Lord Lieutenant this year.
Okay.
And therefore it will be good for us to be involved in that. And I'm sure a number of other district councils will be picking up that theme as well. From the Lord Lieutenant's encouragement.
Thank you, Councillor Asher.
There's a lot of work that's gone on or going on with young people in the district, like with the youth council, and then from the youth council there's been lots of different things where they've inputted to what they wanted to do, and I've been personally to workshops and things and seen it firsthand where they'd asked for a workshop on money and they were talking about mortgages and investments and things like that, stuff that you don't really learn at school. So it is really good work that's going on. I don't know when we last did a young people strategy, if it's something that needs reviewing, but it would certainly be interesting to
Yeah.
people to hear about the work that's going on. But yeah,
Good.
I'm really supportive of this. It's really important.
Councillor Bannister?
Very topical, particularly in light of the publication of Alan Milburn's report last week.
Yes,
It sparked a lot
very
of
interesting.
debate, other contributions and commentary. It would be interesting to have this scrutiny, particularly with regard to the percentage of our young people who are not in education, training or employment in our district.
And as a test, that percentage was it 23%? I vaguely remember the figure of 23%, but it was worrying, wasn't it?
Well, that was a national figure. I'd be particularly interested how that compares in the district.
Yes, so we would want to double check quite quickly the impact on the district. Councillor Bremner?
Yeah, obviously young people is a big bracket. But one aspect of young people is those who are young carers. And I know the county council have worked with young carers, but there's a group of children who may care for a parent or a grandparent in the home, and they very rarely get out. So I know that the county council do some work for that, but I just wouldn't want in a young person people strategy that group to be missed.
No, good, very good point. So can we please feed back to I mean, there's obviously a very detailed, keen submission here. Can we add those points to it with a request that they be considered? So the Councillor Bannister, you raised the issue of 16 to 24's specific age range, I think, and the young carers, two excellent points. Do you want to come in?
I was also going to suggest, I mean, Councillor James at the start mentioned about getting engagement from other groups. We could look at something like the meeting before you're due to consider this, setting up a meeting with the youth council.
Yeah.
So you could get their input to it as well.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes, please, yeah, sorry, please come in.
No, just from conversation with the community engagement team, the youth council will be feeding into the consultation on strategy. However, it'd be a lovely idea, I think, to get them involved, because I think they are searching for some opportunities to get involved with you as councillors a little bit more. So I think if you want to invite them to the meeting before, or perhaps the meeting to even present, if they want to present the strategy or present part of it, might be a nice idea to invite them along to some sort of meeting.
If only we had I don't know, youthful looking chairman, maybe. Might be let's use all the opportunities we can get. Sorry, did anyone want to come in? Councillor Moder, did you want to?
No, I just thought that was like a really good idea, because it's okay for us to sit here and sort of speculate and think, oh, you know, all these ideas of what they may need or support that can be given, but we might hear something completely different from themselves. Because I think that, youth now is not what youth was back when I was sort of going to a youth centre in a mobile home, you know, or a mobile unit. I don't know what the youth of today sort of need or require, or what they get up to. I'm completely in the dark, so it'd be good.
Yeah, definitely. Wasn't Councillor Anderson the previous youth champion? Had there been a variety, or has it been just one or two councillors?
No, it was Councillor Anderson, but he resigned, but I don't think he was ever replaced. So
Do we?
what's happening?
He resigned from it.
Oh, right.
I think he
Okay.
resigned from it.
Yeah, he stood down.
Could we ask him to do it at the same time?
Councillor Dunn, as portfolio holders attending the youth council today, so his
Okay.
portfolio should take that role.
Right, okay, so we have a youth champion, that's fine. We need to bear in mind that I think the largest youth group in the district is still the scouting movement. Don't forget Girl Guides and all the other related ones. So if we're looking at youth in general, let's not forget the other youth organisations we have. But yes, very good point, very detailed scope. I think there's plenty there to be looked at. I don't know what sort of date it could go down for. Certainly, by the way, just to promise that myself and I'd like to speak on behalf of Councillor Bateman, put words through his mouth, but I intend to do some work behind the scenes to try and with officers to work out the best meeting dates for these. It would be good to identify appropriate dates and content and scope. So I think we've come to the end of the very helpful suggestions. This is the point where I ask many members have anything else to raise. Councillor Asher.
Yeah, just, well, a question and a suggestion. So the community grants are obviously going to be changed to ward member grants. And I remember that they went back and forward to scrutiny before, so I would quite like the ward member grants on scrutiny, just to look at how they'll work and what the benefits are and what the negatives might be. So having it work in a different way, because I've already had groups coming to me asking for ward member grants on the previous ward member grants, and I'm saying no more, but there was.
Is that the previous 5,000 grants?
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously now community grants are changing and it would be ward member. So I think that could be a good topic to bring. To
Yeah, so I think that's originating from cabinet, the cabinet decision taken, or rather there's an announcement certainly by the leader.
The scheme is being developed at this time and the intention is to bring it in September.
Bring in, so do you mean open it from September for
Yes.
applications?
Yeah, so that would be when the previous scheme would have started or finished, and then it will change to the new scheme.
Sorry, Asher, Councillor Asher, you want to come back?
Yeah, so would that need, well, really truly that should come to scrutiny then before.
Well, I was literally, just before coming to council, I was literally just going to read out paragraph 3.3. The panels can enact both pre-decision and post-decision scrutiny. However, it is identified that pre-decision scrutiny offers the best opportunity to impact the final decision. So if there is, I mean, I know we've got a meeting at the end of July. What was the one after that? I'm not convinced it's September, though. If we looked at it fairly early when it was open, that might be good, but then we wouldn't be able to impact the criteria though at that point, would we?
It depends what you want to look at, sorry, Chair.
Yeah, so please.
It depends really what you want to look at. If you want to look at the scrutiny, at the criteria, sorry, I'm not sure how far they are with that process. But it would be more beneficial to do it before September. However, what you may like to do is towards sort of the end of next year, end of 2027, the municipal year, I mean, so May 2027. I don't know if you want to look at grants, what organisations have been funded by the grants. It depends sort of what you would prefer to be reviewing.
I feel like we need to scrutinise how it's going to work and looking at, you know, which areas are going to perhaps end up with less money than what they maybe had before, how we're going to look at it, what happens if people don't apply for the.
Yeah, some very good
There's
scrutiny
so many
questions.
aspects, like the ward grant itself. I mean, I was left over with some money and now that's lost because nobody applied for it in time because the project that was earmarked for wasn't ready.
Yes.
So, you know, 35,000 is a lot of money per council. So I think it could be some scrutiny.
Yes. Leah was just saying that it's possible it could go to the 23rd of July meeting if it was ready. So that would be a good request for us to put in if sufficient work had been done. And if it wasn't fully ready, maybe even a presentation point,
so we could
without a report, but a hot off the press presentation point, and we could feed back some comments on that. And I'm sure Cabinet would want early feedback on it in case there's some really critical comments. So should we agree that that's a good process? And then at that meeting, we can suggest something else later on if we needed to. Sorry, Councillor Knight.
Yeah, it was just really that, if there was a way of looking at it before it went to cabinet, that there may be some things that I would certainly wish to flag up in terms of the sort of level, the sort of the minimum amounts that would be applied for, which I feel could discriminate against smaller groups only needing smaller amounts of money, which I feel they will lose out if there isn't a mechanism built in to address it.
We could easily say something like there's an expectation of a minimum amount, and I'm sure it's to avoid 50 applications all for
Yeah.
100 quid. But we could always put in a phrase that in exceptional circumstances, if someone came along with a really hard press, we just want 50 quid or 100 quid. I'm not sure that
Yeah.
would be rejected. So we could put in an exceptional
But-
clause. That
but
would be
really,
a
these
very
are the-
good suggestion for
But
cabinet.
it's just, these are just the things I feel that could be brought up within that review if it was done early enough.
And in fact, these are exactly the sort of things that are being considered and thought through as the schemes develop.
Okay, yeah.
And Councillor Asher in particular, you have lots of parishes.
Yeah.
Until a number of years ago, I had one. Now I have two, with my ward principally Bolton, Astley and Lear. So I can understand that the requirements there are two compared to, I don't know, how many do you have in total?
Well, it depends if you've got parish meetings.
Well, and the mod,
I think I've got 5. I've got
5. Councillor Bannister, you've got a few.
I've got 7.
7,
I've got
yeah.
5.
I'm sure Rosita would speak up at this point if she were here as well, with the number that she has.
Probably not as many as I do, but.
Oh, okay, good. Competitive parish
I
council.
think that Bosworth, perhaps,
That's enough.
Neville Ward has got an awful lot as well.
Yeah. And Cindy, yours as well.
6.
6, yes. Okay. Any other? Councillor Asher, Leah, did you want to feedback on that point that we just discussed?
No, it was a different matter.
Oh, a
It was
different-
The gap we've got on corporate performance, but.
Okay, we'll come in just a sec.
I'll suggest-
Councillor Asher first then.
If
Yeah,
that's okay.
Oh.
So one of the big things which is, I think, all over our district, is fly tipping. And obviously we've put in additional resources for fly tipping. We've done the change in the bulky waste collection.
fee, yeah.
There's been a lot of changes. So I'm wondering if fly tipping should be looked at and scrutinised to say, have we done enough? Is it improving? Is there any more we could do? And what did the extra money achieve? Is the bulky waste actually collections reduced? How much has that cost the council? Has it stopped bulky waste being fly tipped? There's lots of questions surrounding it.
Without going into too much detail, could I just ask Clive, is there any immediate or recent change? Because if people are ringing the council every day or every week, and previously it was, how much is it? 35, 40 quid, and now it's, it's £10. Do we have any gut feeling basis?
The last I heard was, it was probably in June, so I think it was towards the end of, end of April, end of May-ish, that there hadn't really been that much change. But,
People know about it though, because I've not seen it advertised.
well, we never really advertise it. It's on our website, people decide if they want it. But,
It's in the press, isn't it?
Yeah.
it's just as one of the normal announcements, but there hasn't been a significant change, but it's early days, isn't it? It's early days of the process.
It is early days, so maybe it should come to scrutiny later on in the year.
What we could do is it could be not raised as a separate item because it sounds like a smaller question, but it could be raised at the right time before a meeting of corporate and performance where some under and overs on the budget are coming in, and that ought to be a quick win. If I could maybe suggest it's proposed as a question, I don't know if it would warrant significant scope.
I guess like fly tipping as a whole is a big thing for a lot of residents in the whole district.
Do we have any fly tipping reviews underway or coming up at any point?
There's nothing on your agenda, but as you say, there are key performance indicators linked to it. There is budget linked to it as well.
Yeah.
So you'd hope that some of those performance indicators are starting to change because of the impact of what they've done. So that could be monitored, and then later on in the year, if it's not shifting, then it could be an area where you go, you know what, we'd like to add that, because as Ella said at the start, we can add items during the year.
Yeah, and we'll get those KPIs every quarter, I think, on the report. Is that okay? I mean, it's excellent point, but it could be raised every quarter.
I do think we need to keep an eye on it. If it's not working,
Yeah.
and we want it to work better, what could we do about it?
Okay, so if I can suggest it's raised proactively at a corporate and performance meeting and check that. I think Councillor James, you were first, and then Councillor Knight.
All right, thank you. I'm just seeking a clarification really, because under the present scheme or our previous scheme, I think the charge was £40 for 3 items. And I was told this week, I don't know if it's correct or not, that the new scheme, it is £10 an item. Because if it's £10 an item,
It's not,
Well,
that much different.
Let's hear what it is.
it's £10 for the 3,
£10 for
Three.
three.
£10 for 3,
Oh, okay, okay. So I just want to be clear in my own mind,
because
because I use the service quite a bit.
Oh, okay, there you go. Good news.
what changed was the price. The amendment that went through the budget was on the price, not on the number of items.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, was Councillor Knight and then Councillor Mona?
So it's £10 for 3. Okay, from some case.
So, I mean, on the,
What's more,
on what you've just mentioned about the KPIs. So I was wondering whether we have a review of the KPIs and sort of, we could then bring in the aspect of whether there are aspects of whether the fly tipping is getting worse or less, or, and in terms of, the performance measures, are they meaningful? Are they consistent? Are they driving improvement? And so do we actually do a review of our KPIs and how well they're actually working?
Yes, so before I invite maybe an officer to come in on it, I think Cabinet has some responsibility here in that, isn't it Cabinet that set the annual KPIs effectively? But I wouldn't be surprised if Scrutiny had an interest in reviewing, but then again, if we're getting them every quarter, those comments, many comments can be made quarterly. If you're asking for something that we couldn't really do quarterly, that's another matter entirely. But I do know that Cabinet have a responsibility for tweaking and changing. I can't remember the name of the report, the annual corporate governance report.
Delivery.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah,
Okay.
but equally, every quarter you get the finance and performance report, which has all the KPIs in it and their achievement. So,
Okay, so
it
it's
is
in.
coming every quarter, you get the
Okay.
full suite with an indicator of whether it's good or bad. So it is reported.
Okay.
Great. I think, hold on a sec, Councillor Moder.
Oh, yeah, just going back to the change in costs. So that's quite a considerable decrease.
Fly tipping.
The fly
yeah.
tipping cost.
Bulky waste.
Yeah, and I know that you were saying this on the website. I'm just wondering whether we could get it out on some sort of social media platform so that people are actually aware of it. Because I mean, Peter, you didn't even know about it. I didn't know about it, and I'm sort of thinking, life kind of is it goes so fast that perhaps we need to sort of take that to the.
Give us all your old mattresses and fridges.
I think, if I may, part of the reason why it's been done this way is because what we didn't want to do is actively promote it, and then the service gets overwhelmed with requests. So it was more of a gradual, there's been a bit of awareness, there has been a little bit in the media. Let's see how that goes, what impact that has, and then.
I don't know, don't want to broadcast too much. Is it one lorry we're talking about for the district? One?
I don't know, but I presume it usually is.
It might be adaptive. If it's FCC that provide the service, then they might be able to move lorries. Councillor James.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, do you want to come back
Yeah,
on
I
that?
was just sort of thinking because I drove down the A47 yesterday, just before you get to Houghton, and there's 2 mattresses on the A47.
Interesting.
Yes, but I was just sort of thinking, I mean.
I honestly don't think people know about it, but I also do wonder if people that like it wouldn't use the service anymore.
Well, there's that one. Councillor James, then Councillor.
Yeah, it's on a point that it was picking up really. I mean, the commercial rate for taking away a washing machine is about £30. So if we want to promote it to £10, we could well be overwhelmed. So we do have to tread a bit carefully, I think.
I think the principal reasoning was to tidy up and improve the district, not to provide the cheap method of getting washing machines over.
Well, I say we have to be careful how we manage this.
Yeah.
Because.
So I'm sure officers are
be
already aware. So that's great. Councillor Mahal.
Just wondered what we would do if the demand increased.
There's a very interesting question.
Take the chips out first and destroy them.
I'm conscious we're almost going into the depths of scrutinising.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. aren't we?
So it does need to go on the
Well,
Put mattresses on the list and then we're finished.
sorry, do you want to come in?
Yes, yeah, I was just gonna say, if you keep an eye on those KPIs about fly tipping, you would then be able to make a recommendation to cabinet perhaps that they look at in the future how those budget amendments have impacted. Or if you want to add it to a future meeting, but I would say, as Leah was saying, just monitor those fly tipping KPIs for now.
And we can make off the cuff ad hoc recommendations to cabinet at a future meeting. Okay, that's agreed.
Can we make sure that it's highlighted so it's not forgotten about?
Are you on the corporate performance committee? I think you are. So if you can do that yourself at the next meeting, or if you're not available, ask someone to do it for you. That would be the best method, I think, and the quickest actually, because it wouldn't need to wait for an officer report then. It would be the quickest way. Councillor Bannister?
It's just another topic, if I may, and that's in relation to planning appeals. We're all aware that planning officers have delegated powers. The planning committee also make decisions on planning applications. Some of those that are determined to be refused get appealed. And we do from time to time get circulation of appeal notices, appeal determinations. Now, I do wonder, in terms of Barbara's planning performance, how well we do on defending appeals, how many appeals are there, the cost implications, how does that impact on the council? Do we generally have a good feel for the way in which this council does perform? And in particular, members of the planning committee, I think, might benefit from understanding the sort of trends in the appeal process, the decisions being made at the inspector level, and the cost implications for the council. So it might be worth to explore that topic a little bit.
So I'm being shown that there's 2 or 3 KPIs. Could you just read them out, please?
Probably the most pertinent one for what you're saying is we do have a KPI about the amount of major decisions that are allowed at appeal, because that links to national performance targets for planning. But
That's what we're judged on.
Yeah.
Right.
We also have KPIs on minor and other applications determined within 8 weeks, and 60% of applications majors determined within 13 weeks.
Well, that's,
So
sorry to interrupt, that's not appeals, though,
that's
is it?
appeals. It is
no.
just about, so it's the major decisions allowed at appeals is what we're monitored on. And so there are KPIs on it that will be going within the quarterly reports.
Well, that's helpful. Do those KPIs also go into the detail of the cost implications of appeals that are allowed?
No, they don't go to that level of detail. I'm just looking, unfortunately, I'm looking at the next quarter, but
One, if I may take the conversation away again. One thing we could consider doing is inviting either David Atkinson or another officer to a future meeting rather than a report. If you have questions, we could invite a request of presentation, maybe. Do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, sorry. So last March of last year, the corporate and performance panel then did receive a development management update, so a service update, as it were. And that did include the summary of the enforcement performance, planning appeal outcomes, and also section 106 entered into that particular period. So I don't know if that would be beneficial. I can put it up on the board if you'd like to see it.
How long was that report? It was a good 10 pages, 10, 12 pages?
7 pages.
7, okay.
of course we have said we'd like the portfolio holders to be coming along to scrutiny meetings.
Yeah.
So when Rosita comes along to a scrutiny meeting,
Maybe
we can make sure she focuses on how many appeals we're getting, how much it's costing us.
Yeah.
And also the implications of the new planning regime. We've got a briefing on coming up in a couple of weeks.
Exactly, that's going to come in September.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
what
I'll
would
be
we,
happy with that.
Yeah.
so what's the overall conclusion there then?
We will, well, particularly I will.
Yeah.
Ask the portfolio holder some questions about this
Good.
when Rosita comes along.
Good.
At which meeting is planning?
We will
scheduled?
schedule it in. We haven't got it scheduled
Okay.
yet.
Good, okay.
Yeah, no,
You're happy with that? Sounds like the sort of thing they would have hopefully at their fingertips. Councillor Knight.
So on the budget, we've sorry, the financial sort of lesson. So we've got the we've got each quarter.
Yeah.
Do we do the MTFS as well, or is that
So we
covered
use the
within
budget.
each?
We do it as.
No, yeah, the joint one, 21st of January.
Yeah.
The whole draft budget, I think will come, MTFS and all. Yeah.
Fine, that's cool.
Okay, any further items?
So because you've got, still got a gap on corporate.
Oh, have we? This is the gap.
The interest gap. One thing you might want to be thinking about is possibly doing some scrutiny about how the council's preparing for local government reorganisation, which might hopefully fit that gap. So I won't forgive
Give
you
us
for
the-
suggesting that, but
I'm not sure the officers want more work on this.
Someone's mentioned the TLA.
it's about getting that assurance.
Just
that
an
the
overview.
council's- Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yes, will something significant be coming towards scrutiny, I suppose? It's, okay, I'm getting a nod, so we could make a placeholder, put it in at number 8. And obviously behind the scenes, myself, councillor Bateman and officers will be liaising on best scheduling.
So
Uh,
all
it-
the
it-
officers have a good summer holiday.
Yes, exactly. Well, is it, I think I've been told that it's mid-July that there's an important announcement, is that right?
July.
July.
Early July,
Yeah, before Parliament rises for the summer.
Right.
10th of July is when they up six for the summer.
fine. Well, assuming officers don't need any holidays, then that's the July meeting sorted. No, anything. Great, so local government review. Anything else pressing? No, I'm not getting any further comments. I think then, according to the agenda, any urgent business? There's no urgent business. Thank you very much. That's a valuable meeting. Meeting closed.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.